halfway point of the regular season here at the Doug's Experimental Baseball Tournament. Each team has played 3 games, each team has 3 games left. So it's similar to the 82 game mark in Major League Baseball, except no one has had to sit through an Angel Hernandez missed strike, an ESPN split screen, or anything involving the Baltimore Orioles. Up first we have the Banana Fananas at Glory Days. A win for the Glory Days and they're right back in the playoff hunt. But step on a Banana Fanana skin and their season may well be done. Let's get to the action, and we don't have to wait long. Bottom of the first, and Pat Lestache is on base. Lestache was once traded from the Brewers to the Yankees, with Milwaukee warning the Bronx club that Lestache had a bruise on his foot, but was totally okay to play. Lestache showed up in New York, where the bruise was quickly revealed to be a broken foot, and the trade was promptly called off. Milwaukee, liars or incompetent? You decide. Anyway, his foot seems perfectly healed up here as Bobby Crosby singles to score him in the first run of the game. Glory Days aren't remembering that time they hit a single though, they're wistfully remembering the long balls, and Ben Grieve obliges in the bottom of the second to make it 3-0. Coco Crisp responds for the Banana Fananas, and it's 3-1. Coco Crisp wasn't born Coco, his birth name was Cavelli, but his sister claimed he looked like one of the characters on a Cocoa Krispies box and the nickname stuck. So for all the grief I've been giving him for sounding like a breakfast cereal, he actually was named after one. Coco rolled with the nickname and legally changed his name while playing for the A's in 2013. He did it to be more recognisable, while half the 2013 Astros did exactly the same thing but for opposite reasons. We'll see more from Coco later, but in the meantime Lestache's single to make it 4-1, and we're in the bottom of the 5th as Hideo Nomo is flying. A one-pitch ground out to Pickles, Tony sucks, and oof, Bonzer strikes out too. Nomo's wind-up was known as the Tornado, and he's been blowing everyone away, except he can't solve the problem that is Coco Crisp. I said we'd see him again, and here he is with his second long ball of the game, and we're all tied up at 4. That started a bit of trouble for Nomo, and here we are in the top of the 7th, with men on 2nd and 3rd and only 1 out. Nomo gets Dick Padden to strike out, but Rusty Kuntz is from Kansas. If anyone knows how to handle tornadoes, it's him. He makes contact, but like Dorothy, he's not in Kansas anymore and lines out. And before anyone says, well actually he's a coach for the Royals, Kansas City is not in Kansas as well you know. So the game is still tied through the stretch, and Glory Days now also have men at 2nd and 3rd. Banana Fananas are scared enough of Hinsky to walk them loaded, so Glory Days decide to go to their secret weapon. Yes, Dontrell Willis, their starter last time out, is called up to pinch hit for the 2nd time in 3 games. Well, it worked once before, why not try it again? Well, this is why. A force out at the plate. Can the Banana Fananas escape? No! That most exciting of all plays, the sack fly, gives Glory Days a 5-4 lead. Bottom of the 8th, and remember last inning when they walked Hinsky? Well, they can't do that this time because there's nowhere to put him with the bases loaded. And Hinsky shows he knows exactly how to handle Dick and sends Pole's offering to right to score 2. That was the game winner because although the Banana Fananas will get one back in the 9th, they lose the game 7-5, Hinsky's RBIs making the difference. So Glory Days and Banana Fananas are now tied in the standings at 2 wins and 2 losses each, although Banana Fananas remain 2nd on the run differential tiebreaker. No more issues for Hideo, he went 8 innings and picked up the win, and Grieve reached base every time up along with 3 RBIs and 2 runs. Coco was crisp, hitting 2 homers for the Banana Fananas, but it wasn't enough.
Back to Group A, and if you're going to get your first win of the tournament, you might as well make an impression. That's what the 0-3 2019 Detroit Tigers are going to attempt to do against the undefeated Weak Prescriptions. We join in the bottom of the 1st, and it's Dave Winfield of the Prescriptions opening the scoring to make it 1-0, and Gary Matthews follows suit right after him to make it 2-0. That's fine, game is still within reach. The key is not to give up anything huge. You're not going to get singled to death very often. In the bottom of the 2nd, it's Jim Bottomley singling to make it 3-0. Dave Winfield up again, and he's supersized his single to a double. 2 score, and it's 5-0 Prescriptions. That's fine, game is still within reach. These are the wildest pitchers on the Weak Prescriptions, just have to show a little patience and rattle off a big inning. Bottom of the 4th, and it's Mike Piazza. Has singles will mingle. That scores Brett Butler to make it 6-0. Gary Matthews at the plate, and that should be an easy out. And oh no, 7-0 Prescriptions. That's fine. The Prescriptions also have the worst fielders of all time, so there's always a shot they'll give some of those back to you. It's Ray Durham up next, and you know, this might just not be the Tigers tournament. It's a 3-run shot, and the prescriptions have made it 10-0. The Tigers do get 3 back on home runs from Miguel Cabrera and Ronnie Rodriguez, but that is it. 10-3 is your final. It's another fantastic start out of a prescription starting pitcher as Kretlow goes 8 innings, striking out 8 and only giving up those late meaningless home runs. It's also another great game for Ray Durham, 2 for 4 with another 3 RBIs and a home run. He's still sporting a batting average of .667 and brings his RBI total up to 7 through 5 games. For Detroit, they just can't get anything going offensively, let alone 10 runs. Castellanos goes 0 for 4, leaving 5 men on base.
It's mismatch time now at the Dogs as the undefeated 3-0 Union Jacks take on the 0-3 winless Big Bones. This game is at the Jacks' home park in Toronto too, so the Commonwealth crowd has expectations higher than Lucy in the Sky. Top of the first, and Bill Boyd is at first base with a single. Historical data on Bill Boyd, who only played for 4 years and died over 100 years ago, is difficult to find, so for this game we're going to assume it's the actor Billy Boyd in the lineup, famous for playing Pippin the Hobbit in the Lord of the Rings movies. He's had 1 base, yes, but what about second base? Marak on the mound doesn't know about second base, and Boyd steals it. Sandoval with the RBI single, and the Big Bones have a surprise 1-0 lead. Top of the second, and incredibly it's the Big Bones threatening again. Jesus Aguilar with a single that will score 2, as Bill Boyd scores from second, showing off speed that you wouldn't expect from a 250-pound 19th century second baseman, but you could believe from a 150-pound Scottish actor. Later in the inning, and Marak should be out of it, but George Hall makes a suspicious error at first, and the inning continues. If you remember, Hall was banned from baseball for throwing games. He may have died 100 years ago, but perhaps his old habits haven't. The bases are loaded, and Sano walks to make it 4-0. Just what is happening to the unbeaten group leaders? They need to calm down, and for that you need a scouser. Tom Brown hits the first pitch he sees out the park, and then it's back-to-back Union Jacks, as Dave Breen does the same. 4-2 now. Evan Gattis gets one of those runs back in the 4th though, the ball leaving his bat with the same pleasing sound as a man banging on a trash can. Plenty of time for the Jacks to get it back, and they have a great opportunity in the bottom of the 6th. We pick it up with the bases loaded and no outs, and George Hall, him with the suspicious error earlier, manages to not only fail to score, but is responsible for 2 outs and a force-out at home double play. We're on to you, Hall. We all see what you're doing. Harry Smith is clearly not part of George Hall's game-throwing club though, and he singles to score 2 and cut the deficit to 5-4. Just when you think the momentum is with the UK, the colonialists try for a KO. Val Pascucci steals a base, which we all expected of the 270-pound outfielder, who has had 1 career stolen base in the majors. By this point, it's no surprise to see Bill Boyd drive him home, and he will soon be sitting on a field of victory, enjoying a few well-earned comforts, because this innings sealed the stunning upset. Aguilar hits his first home run of the tournament, getting his 3rd, 4th and 5th RBIs of the day, and the Bones take an unassailable 9-4 lead. They actually won this 12-5, spurred by Pippin's trips round the bases and back again. He went 5 for 6 with 3 runs, 2 RBIs, a stolen base, and a successful rallying of the Ents. The Ents in this case, of course, being the Big Bones, who rouse from their long slumber to finally get a win. They're still last in the standings, the Union Jacks are still first, but this was a result not even the Eye of Sauron saw coming, although perhaps George Hall did. But it means there's all to play for as both teams head into the final 2 games of the season.
It's the 2-1 New Jersey Turnpikes at the 1-2 Deliberately Offensive. Big game here, as this will be the last time these 2 teams meet, and it will appear to be the most competitive race for a playoff spot in the group. Should the offensive win, they will pull even with the Turnpikes, but should they lose, they'll be looking at a 2-game deficit with 2 games to play. Potentially good news though. The offensive were designed to be balls to the walls at all time, and now we're going to get a good look at those balls as they kick off 3 straight games in hitter-friendly Coors Field. On the mound today, it's Stan Musial. The Cardinals great, he actually got the team's attention with his pitching, but by the time he hit the majors, they had figured out he'd be much more valuable as a position player. Despite all that, he still wanted to get in there to say he made a pitching appearance, and he got a chance in 1952 as the team constructed a plan to get him in there for 1 hitter. He induced a ground ball, which Sally Amos botched for an error over at third base, so his only appearance on the mound was an unofficial at-bat. The first picture I found of Sally features him with his eyes straight up and his glove closed while presumably fielding a ground ball, so that potentially explains a little. Let's go to the top of the first. Musial on the mound, and he's got 2 strikes on Ron LaFleur. We're in Game 4, and the only offensive player to record a strikeout thus far is Babe Ruth, who had a considerable length of time on the mound, and he's got him! Holy cow, he's got him! If you'll recall, LaFleur was discovered in prison while serving 5 to 15 years for armed robbery, and I'd have to say that this strikeout is by and far the worst thing he's ever done in his life. If I was that man's wife, I would not bear him children. Musial holds the Turnpikes scoreless in the first. It's a little 2-out magic for the offensive as they start here with 2 outs, a man on first, and no runs scored as of yet. Babe Ruth singles and the runners move up to second and third on an error in the outfield. After a walk to load the bases, Ott doubles and clears the bases to put deliberately offensive up 3-0. After Jimmy Fox walks, it's Robin Yount, and the New Jersey pitcher Denny McLain is looking like a confused tennis player from Idaho because he's serving up taters. 3-run shot, 6 runs scored with 2 outs. But we turn to the top of the fourth, and the Turnpikes have cut offensive's lead to 6-2, and they're threatening here again. Bases loaded, nobody out, and Charlie Hoover singles to make the game 6-3. Cesar Carrillo sacrifices himself to make it 6-4. Ron LaFleur's single once again loads the bases for Gary Sheffield. Nice try, Ron. I still remember your strikeout. And Sheffield singles to cut the lead to 1. It's 6-5. Bases still loaded for Pierce Chileson. Is that a marvelous bratwurst? No, it's a grand salami. New Jersey takes the lead 9-6. We go to the bottom of the fourth, and Cap Anson's already closed the gap back down to 1 run with a 2-run home run, and Mel Ott's up with a man on first and second. Offensive instantly takes the lead back at 10-9. If this is how games are going to go at Coors Field, I'm going to need a better brand of bourbon, as this one's tearing my throat to shit. 19 runs in 4 innings. Roberto Clemente into pitch now, and Furcal answers for the Turnpikes 10-10. However, in the bottom of the fifth, the offensive says enough of the foreplay, it's time to eat the goose. Babe Ruth up with men on first and third, and ding dong, the pitch is dead. 13-10 offensive. 2 batters later with a man on first, it's Mel Ott. 15-10. A bases loaded walk and a wild pitch runs the score up to 17-10. And Babe Ruth is up for the second time in the inning, and he's going to pick up RBIs number 4 and 5 in this inning alone. They entered the inning tied, but when all was said and done in the fifth, we sit at 19-10 deliberately offensive, and that'll be enough to take down the game. There's plenty of action we're not showing you here, including further home runs by Chipper Jones for deliberately offensive and Jerry Martin and Willie Aikens for the Turnpikes. But in the end, deliberately offensive holds on to win their first home game 21-18. So we had ourselves a pitcher's duel here today. Lull, jick, as the kids would say. You could throw a dart and hit a stellar offensive performance today, but we'll go ahead and say that the effort out of Mel Ott and Babe Ruth were head and shoulders above the rest. 12 RBIs combined, including the 5 from Babe Ruth in a single inning. The Turnpikes actually out-hit deliberately offensive, recording 23 hits in a losing effort, but they got on their heels early. Denny McLain managed to record 2 outs while giving up 6 runs and walking 2, so it was a long, long day for the bullpen. 5 hours and 27 minutes to be exact, comfortably weighing in as the longest game of the tournament thus far. Let's see what that does to the standings. We've got a game of leapfrog going on as the offensive are now back in playoff position based off their run differential. Meanwhile, in Group B, asses have been turned backwards. With the shocking 7-run victory on the road against the previously undefeated Union Jacks, the Big Bones find themselves with the best-looking run differential, but they're still in the basement. Glory Days can sniff playoff position, matching the Banana Fanas record and getting within 2 runs in terms of run differential. That makes Monday very interesting. The Big Bones will look to take advantage of their top run differential as they visit the Banana Fanas. A win will guarantee that they at least hurdle the Banana Fanas in the standings. Meanwhile, Glory Days will try to wrestle themselves into playoff position, but to do so, they'll have to put up a good result against the current leaders in Group B, the Union Jacks. In Group A, the New Jersey Turnpikes are going to see if they can keep the game of leapfrog going, but they're at a distinct disadvantage as they host the undefeated Weak Prescriptions. Deliberately Offensive has the less intimidating task of taking on the winless 2019 Tigers. That does it for the Game 4s, ladies and gentlemen. As always, please subscribe to the channel and like the video, it really helps the Dugs out. and I hope to see you all again on Monday. I've been Johnny Paprika, hoping all your balls are fair and all your wood is good. Good night, everybody.